All right, so this video is going to be about how you can become a millionaire when you're broke with no skills. And this is going to be no BS advice, right? Because I hear a lot of advice online. You know, you're a 18-year-old, you have absolutely zero skills, and you can start a business making like $1 million a month and blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, in like 99.9% of the time, that's just not the case. So what exactly do you do, right? Well, step one is you have to have some kind of income coming in, right? You have to have some kind of money. Now, if you're lucky enough to be born into a family where they just pay for everything, you're living with your parents, you have basically no bills, and they buy you whatever you want, you're a trust fund baby, whatever. Okay, great. Skip step one. But for 99% of us, you got to get step one down. So you have to have some sort of income. You have to be making some kind of money. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. Now, I chose probably one of the dumbest ways to do this, which is getting a doctorate. I became a pharmacist, and that took about, 6 years, and that was an accelerated doctorate, and it still took 6 years to become a pharmacist, and I got $100,000 plus in student loan debt. So I was multi-six figures in student loan debt. So that's not one of the smartest ways to do it, because if I would have just done online business during those 6 years, I would have been making a hell of a lot more money, and I would not have been, multi-six figures in debt. So, I came from a really poor background, and so I felt like that was my only way out. Back then, there wasn't as much content online. There wasn't as much people telling the truth online. So I didn't realize that was even an option until later on. So don't do that, right? Don't go through a bunch of schooling to get your skills. That's probably not a good idea. What you should do is, well, there's several different options, but the best option is you should get a job where you're getting paid to learn in-demand skills. Okay, let me repeat that. Get a job where you're getting paid to learn in-demand skills. So these could be skills such as sales. You could get a sales job. Sales is a phenomenal career. These could be skills like appointment setting. Get an appointment setting job. That's where you set up calls for the salesperson. You could get a job such as running ads, right? Digital marketing. So running paid ads. Yeah, all these different types of things are really good ideas, and you could get a job doing all those different types of things. And these are incredibly valuable. Now, that is my number one recommendation, is to get a job where you're learning in-demand skills. And the best thing about this is none of these jobs require a college degree. And of course, this is what I talk about on my main channel. So this is my main channel, 750,000 subs, going to be 1 million subs by the end of the year. And that's basically what I talk about on that channel, is like how to get a job, right? And all these gurus online are going to tell you, oh no, you don't need a job. Just start off with drop shipping, or start off with this, start off with that. Doesn't need any money. And I guarantee you almost every single method does actually require money to get started, or you're going to be severely handicapping yourself if you don't have some startup capital. You need at least a few $1,000s. I mean, bare minimum, a few $1,000s to get started with just about any business model. So how do you get that few $1,000s? You get a job, right? Or you do freelancing or something along those lines, something where you're bringing money in, preferably something where you're getting paid to learn in-demand skills. Now, there is some exceptions. One thing you could do is get what's known as a warm body job. Okay. And a warm body job is typically where you're not making very much money. A lot of the time it's going to be night shift. Maybe you're kind of just on call. You're not doing all that much work. Maybe it's like an IT job where you're doing the night shift, right? Something along those lines, where in an 8-hour shift, you're only working 1 or 2 hours, then the other 6 hours you have to dedicate to growing your business. Now, that's kind of the situation that I was in with pharmacy. I got a really chill pharmacy job. It was a warm body job where I could get all the work done in like maybe 3 hours. And the rest of the time I was just chilling, and I could go in the back and do research and work on scripts for my YouTube channel. And so that can be a really good option as well. But with that being said, you're not going to be learning very much. It's going to be a soul-sucking job. It's going to be incredibly boring. But you can work on your online business if you're doing that. I prefer option number one, where you're getting paid to learn in-demand skills. I think that's the best one. But the warm body job option is good too. Now, Option number 3 is get a job where you're just making a ton of money. That's kind of what I did with, pharmacy as well. I got a job where I was making a ton of money. The problem with that is chances are if you're getting a job where you're making a ton of money, you're going to be working really hard and it's going to be very tiring for you to grow your business on the side. Because when you get home from your job, you're going to be freaking tired, right? So yes, you could do that. It's also harder to get those types of jobs. Everyone wants a job where you're making a ton of money, so it's harder to get into those. So option number 1 or option number 2 are typically much easier to get into. With sales jobs, you can actually make a ton of money if you're skilled, but chances are right off the bat, you're going to be making, somewhere between 50 and 100K per year. If you're able to actually perform, and then later on down the line, you can build yourself up to like 100, 200K a year or even more. But with that being said, I highly recommend option number 1 or 2. Option number 3 is something you could do, but it's just got a lot harder to land. But some people watching this video might be in that situation. And the great thing about option number 3 is you can just immediately hire people, right? You can immediately start hiring people to do some of the dirty work for you. You can spend money hiring people on Upwork, on Fiverr. You can get full-time employees or full-time contractors and do a lot of that dirty work for you so that you're not spending as much of your own time doing the kind of repetitive tasks. And because of the fact that you have a really good job, you're going to have the money to hire those people. Now, I highly recommend, by the way, hiring from, the Philippines or Eastern Europe or something like that, so it doesn't cost as much because there's great employees there, especially when you're first starting. I highly recommend hiring from those countries. And yeah, those 3 options are really good. That is what you got to do right off the bat. Get a freaking job. I hate to get too philosophical about this, but if you're not making money 99% of the time, it's because you're not giving value to society. That's just the truth, okay? Of course, there's a few exceptions here and there. There's people who do give a ton of value to society that also are not making money. But 99% of the time, if you're not making money, it's because you are not a contributing member of society. So give value to society and you will make money in return. And that's just the way that the world works. Now, the second thing you want to do is pick an online business model. Doesn't really matter which business model you pick. They all work. They're all also a lot of work. So despite what all the gurus say, any online business model you pick is going to be a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of dedication. This is, one of the reasons why people give up so easily is, for one, because they're really honestly weak. And I'm just being honest. This new generation of people are growing up. They've just had everything handed to them and they're just really weak. They've been watching TikTok and just spending all their time on social media, and they've never had to actually work in order to accomplish anything. So chances are half of it's your fault, and then the other half is the marketer's fault that make it seem like it's so freaking easy, right? When in reality, it's actually not very easy at all. It's actually quite difficult. And so you want to pick an online business model. The ones I recommend are either an agency model, so something like a social media marketing agency, or some type of coaching. If you already have a skill, you can do some type of coaching. Now, most people watching this are like, oh, I'm not skilled at anything. 95% of the people I talk to are skilled at something. I helped an 18-year-old get to $85,000 a month within 6 months, right? He had like 0 skills, and I helped him get to 85K per month within 6 months. So chances are you do have skills, and that was with a coaching program, by the way. So yeah. That's what you want to do. Pick some kind of business model. You could do Amazon FBA, you could do KDP, you could do all kinds of different business models. They all work. There's a reason why so many people promote them. It's because they actually work. But with that being said, my 2 favorites are either an agency, and that's essentially where you do the work for somebody, so it's done for you work, or a coaching business where it's done with you. Okay. And what people typically do a lot of the time is they'll start off with an agency model where they just do the work for the person. Then they get some testimonials, they get some experience, they know that they really know their stuff. Then they move to a coaching model because the agency model isn't as scalable and it's also really stressful. And coaching is much more scalable, it's less stressful, and it's a lot more enjoyable because you get to work with people, and instead of just catching fish for somebody, you're teaching them how to fish for themselves, which is much more enjoyable if you ask me. So number 3, and this is the part that's incredibly important, guys, because all of these gurus online will tell you their business model is the best, right? So Iman Gadzi, for instance, no offense to him, like it's just part of the game, but they'll all tell he's all into social media marketing agency, and he'll tell you his business model is the best. That's the course that he sells. But the truth is, guys, what you want to do, number 3 on the list, is you want to build in public. Okay? Build in public. This is what I mean by that. Look at what Iman Gadzhi did from the very beginning. He documented his journey, right? This was 8 years ago when he started documenting his journey. He wasn't even really doing that much business. I think he was probably starting off like maybe doing some kind of fitness business. He was like a personal trainer. Then he slowly transitioned into making content about growing your social media. And he started doing, videography work and ads work for people. And then he slowly transitioned into like a proper social media marketing agency, et cetera, et cetera. So he documented this whole journey, guys. Even though he ended up switching niches, it was totally fine because he was documenting his journey and people were watching his content because of him. That's why they were watching his content. And so he kept on documenting his journey, and he slowly transitioned into becoming a proper social media marketing agency. And then after that, he started making really good money, and then he started teaching people how they can do the same thing. So he transitioned into the coaching model, like I said before, right? And this is exactly what you guys want to do as well. You want to document your journey and build in public. It doesn't take that much extra time to make some videos. You can literally just turn the camera on while you're doing things. So just as an example, this is an example that I really liked. This guy basically tried cold calling for the first time, and it was absolutely brutal, as it always is for people who try cold calling for the first time. And he just recorded it. That's it. And then it probably took him 5 minutes, 15 minutes max to upload it to YouTube, right? So he was going to do it anyways, but he decided to record it. And guess what? He got 317,000 views with a brand new channel, right? So document your journey in public, right? If you're an expert, position yourself as an expert. If you're a learner, and position yourself as a learner. If you're an expert, basically what you want to do is pretend like you're just making a simple Loom video or a quick video for a friend who needs help with whatever you're an expert in, or you can pretend like you're making a video helping the past version of yourself. Like if you had a time machine and you could go back in time and tell yourself something to save yourself a bunch of time, energy, and money, what would you tell yourself? That's what you want to do when you're making these videos. That's exactly what I'm doing when I'm making this video, right? And if you're a learner, simply just document what you've learned. Right? Just like this guy, right? Document what you're doing, document what you've learned, and share your journey of doing it. And that's going to be an incredible way for you to get clients, because a lot of the time, if you're an expert, a lot of people don't really even relate to you. Like you're too good, right? You're too good for them to be able to learn from you. Like imagine if I hired LeBron James for basketball. That would just be overkill. Right? I shouldn't hire LeBron James. I should hire somebody who is maybe an amateur basketball player or a semi-pro. And they would be able to teach me a heck of a lot more than LeBron James because he's so much better than me. It's not even close. I have so much to learn before I could even get to the point where I would benefit from learning from LeBron James. So in many ways, if you position yourself as a learner, it's actually more helpful to some people out there who are beginners, right? So position yourself as a learner. Or position yourself as an expert, but document your journey and build in public. Number 4, figure out what your audience wants. As much as all these gurus say that you should always know exactly what your niche is and exactly what your audience is and exactly what they want and exactly what your offer is, the truth is nobody gets it right on the first time. Nobody. And I'll give you guys an example. When I first started my channel, you can look back and you can see my early videos. And I was talking about college degrees, side hustles. I was talking about Roth IRA, investing, stockbrokers, money saving tips, 5 safest investments, how to make a budget template, the average net worth, college majors, all kinds of different stuff. And what the audience ultimately wanted was the college major stuff. That's what they wanted to see. And it made a lot of sense because I went through the college meat grinder and I got a doctorate and I wasn't completely happy with the process. And so a bunch of people wanted to know what was going on with that as well. But I made other videos on grants and all kinds of things. And I eventually figured out that combination of what do I want to talk about? What does the audience want? And what can I actually make money from, right? Those 3 things. What can you make money from? what do you actually want to talk about? What are you passionate about? And what does the audience want? So imagine that's like a Venn diagram with 3 circles, and you want to pick the thing that intersects in the middle of those 3 things. And then you'll figure out how to make money later on down the line. Now, the way I recommend, like I said, is coaching or a service, but you'll figure it out down the line, like what exactly you're gonna sell to these people. But you wanna make educational content where you're solving real problems for real people that have real money. That is important. Make sure you do that. But when it comes to your niche, when you make a personal brand, the beautiful thing about a personal brand is you are a human being, and that's how you're presenting yourself. Your channel name isn't, like imagine if I name my channel the investor or the investing guy or something like that. And then, these investing videos completely bombed. Nobody wanted to watch that stuff because it's a saturated niche. And I didn't really honestly know much about investing in the first place. So of course people didn't watch it. But I wouldn't be able to pivot my channel. But because of the fact that I made my channel a personal brand, I was able to easily pivot into other things, because your channel, as well as yourself, is a living, growing, changing organism. You change over time, and your channel can change over time with you because of the fact that you have a personal brand. So that's what you want to do. You want to figure out what your audience wants, and in that process, you're going to figure out your niche. You're going to figure out what your product market fit is. You're going to figure out what you're going to sell. You're going to figure out who you're going to sell it to. You're going to figure out what the biggest problems they have are, and you're going to figure out how you can help them solve those problems. So very, very important. Then number 5, once you've got a bit of an audience, you want to launch a product. Now, many people who work with me already have their niche figured out. They've already launched a product. They're already successful business owners, and they simply want to get more clients from YouTube, and that's totally fine. So, if you're in that situation, that's actually the majority of the clients that I work with. And so what you want to do is launch your first product, and really the way that I recommend doing this is simply launch a product in the most simple way possible. You don't want to build out a crazy, complicated funnel and all this crazy stuff. I see all these people teaching building out like a low ticket group funnel, for instance, when that's one of the most complicated funnels you can possibly do, because you have to get people into the group, and then you have to have appointment setters talk to those people and then upsell them to your higher ticket offer. It's an incredibly complicated funnel. And because of school, for instance, this has gotten really popular. And don't get me wrong, I think that is a legit business model but for a beginner, that's really rough. But with that being said, a coaching program where when you first start it, maybe you just charge hourly, something like that. Or a service where when you first start it, you give your first few clients you do for free, just so you can get some testimonials. You do it for a ridiculously cheap price, just so you can get some testimonials. And you do an amazing job. You do an absolutely killer job for them so that they are happy to give you a testimonial. That's how you started out. And that's how you're going to get your first few clients. That's how you're going to make your first little bit of money. And then you can scale it up from there, and you can start charging higher and higher prices. Next, basically, you want to start selling this product and service to your audience on all social media platforms. So you started on YouTube, you were building in public on YouTube, and now you want to syndicate this content out to all social media platforms. Now, you don't want to do this in such a way where you're incredibly busy and you're spending all of your time making content. You want to do it in a way that's sustainable, where you basically make 1 or 2 pieces of content on 1 or 2 different platforms, and then those pieces of content get syndicated out to every other platform. So, for instance, my favorite way of doing this is make original content on YouTube and original content on your newsletter, and then syndicate that original content out to every single different platform. In fact, you could just do YouTube if you want, and some people do that. Basically, you make a YouTube video, you use a transcript to transcribe that YouTube video into words, and then you have copywriters take the best little bits and pieces out of it and then post it on Twitter, and then make it into carousels and post it on Instagram, and then make it into, word posts and post it on Facebook, et cetera, right? And that's exactly what you would do. So basically, you want to syndicate it out to all different platforms so you have this omnipresence. So you're available on all platforms, but you want to do it in a sustainable way. And this is exactly what I teach my clients how to do. And then you want to start retargeting people that are interested in your product with paid ads. So there's ways where you can basically put pixels on your landing pages. And by the way, by this time, once you actually know that people want to buy the product, you're going to have a nice, more of a complicated VSL, something really nice that you actually put some time into. And you're going to start pixeling these people so that you have their information. Then you're going to start retargeting them with ads. This is a really low-hanging fruit. If people are watching your videos that are super specific, where you're solving a real problem for real people that have real money, and they're watching a lot of the video, you can retarget them on YouTube, you can retarget them on Facebook, etc., with paid ads, and you can like double or triple the amount of money you're making, right? If you're doing this properly. So you can start running paid ads, and you can really scale your business up at that point. So that is basically how you become a millionaire when you're broke with no skills. Those are the basic steps. That's exactly how I would do it if I was starting over. This is what I wish I knew back in the day. And by the way, if you want to know how to do this, if you want to know how to get clients with YouTube and content syndication, go ahead, book a call. I'll put the link down in the description and the pinned comment below, and we can talk. I've helped to make 4 people, almost actually 5. There's 2 other people, so almost 6 people into 8-figure entrepreneurs making $10 million a year. I've helped another 15 people make about 7 figures a year, and I've helped countless other people make it to like 6 figures a year or more, or just like a full-time income. So if you want to work with me, book a call down in the description in the pinned comment below. I definitely am going to try to sell you something. I'm upfront about that, but it's the best damn program around, so I'm not afraid to say it.